what's the next big space? And we really realized that healthcare is pretty broken. If you look at healthcare in India, this is what really it is. It is a lot of people trying to get in a line and trying to get and see a doctor. A doctor is somebody who is a god with whom you respect a lot, but most of the time you never want to meet because you know there's a bad news coming, and that's pretty much the reality. And the inaccessibility of that across, even if you are staying in a premium city like Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, still the gap is huge because the moment when you really need to consult a doctor, you really never consult a doctor then. The beauty of it is, if you look at it, is any appointment, any human-based service actually started as an appointment. But the beauty, when you look at this other side of it, is that you fall sick, you need a doctor at a moment. You do not plan for it. So that fundamentally is wrong. So basically, access of healthcare on demand, and as a business, when we, as a company, what we believe in, we actually believe in quality healthcare on demand. So just a quick thing, in India, if you look at per 1,700 people, there's one doctor. This is an MBBS doctor. A specialist doctor, that number is 5,500:1. And with the growing trend of India being really a country which is slowly becoming a hub for chronic diseases, right from hypertension to diabetes, actually access and continuous access becomes really key to how we all manage our health. And health, by the way, typically doesn't mean you're able to run a half marathon. It doesn't mean only that you're very fit. Those are valid parameters about you being healthy, but those are not the only parameters. In fact, they constitute only about 25-30% of your real health status. So from that perspective, yeah, so that's what I pretty much said, that quality doctors are fair and few, broken delivery process. You look at it, why doesn't it work? It doesn't work for a very simple reason. Anything which is human is bound to have errors. There's bound to be mistakes. Famous research done at the UK, where NHS is the body which is the government-run healthcare management system. They took 1,000 doctors and gave the same 100 cases to each doctor at different times. Again, each doctor on an average gave 70% of the time result A, and the remaining 30%, it was a version of the result A. That's purely because it's human. And for a doctor to remember all that data, information, really doesn't work. So if you look at it, at the core of it, there's only one thing which can solve for it. You need the expertise of a doctor, the judgment of a doctor, but you really need to assist him in something, and which is more technology. So for a country like us, like India, which is so vast, so many people, growing at a rapid rate, the population is big, what do we really do? So when you look at healthcare, again, I'll be coming to the little bit parts of the market, but I just really wanted to give the landscape. When you go to certain businesses, it's okay to solve a part of the problem. The part of the problem could be, in healthcare, could be, I can deliver medicines. The part of the problem could be, I'll get you equipments. The part of the problem could be, I'll help you get a lab test. But the reality is, healthcare is not none of those. Those are retail businesses. They are just version of retail businesses which are enabling services. Real healthcare is all about care. You go to a hospital, you go to meet a doctor only for one reason. I'm going to speak to a doctor. You invariably buy a medicine there, you invariably get a lab test done there, you eventually get admitted there also if required. But the core of it is care, and we all, fundamentally, we think if there is a platform, if anything in healthcare, there's a potential of cracking something, it has to be care-led. All others are businesses, which might be you do it with somebody else, really doesn't matter. But if there is not a care element in the core business, it's not healthcare. It will more 9 out of 10 times, it will most probably become retail, and that's where, in a business like this, trust issues become huge. So I just showed a typically life cycle of how a consumer goes, right? Something happens, he ignores it, self-fixes it most times, goes to a primary care center, gets some medicine, most probably gets okay. If not, next level, further diagnosis, and eventually, if worst case, sometimes tertiary care. That's pretty much how a life cycle of a health goes. So at MFine, what we try to do is, that box which I'm trying to do, we have to cover that. Whether we do parts of it, whether we have to do the care part of it completely, but yes, the other parts of it we could be doing with somebody else. Not necessarily that I need to build the last mile logistics of delivering the medicine. The real business is in the care business, the medicine is the later. So for India, what really works? For India, mobile works, we all know. And what works? AI. Because why does AI work? You really need to bring in technology to bring in that consistency. And that's when you can really take care to a person's hand and really change the game. Whether it is we solving a case, a few years back, there was a massive outbreak in Gorakhpur where a lot of young babies had died. And we actually got a couple of cases and we were able to save a couple of babies. Because they were able to connect a top pediatrician who was able to administer the right advice at that time. So that's the impact of a mobile phone. We've got cases where a person says, कि आपने बता तो दिया क्या करना है, लेकिन दवाई कहाँ से खरीदूं? So with mobile phone, he has access to a doctor, but still medicine is still a problem because the nearest shop is most probably 50 kilometers away. So that's what, so again, these are a bunch of services. Obviously, when I spoke about you need to do everything, and that's around that. When you build any business and when you specifically even think about marketing any business, and especially I'll talk about platform businesses. I've had my primary experience either from Amazon to Myntra and now this is building platforms. And platforms are built on two sides. Platforms is one built on the huge supply network. You need a massive supply network, which is like you need to touch at every moment, whether it is really if you stay in Worli, you have access to, you bring in the doctors, hospitals, everything from that area. If you stay in Bangalore, in Whitefield, you have everything there. And you have to cover all need states. So for that, you need a massive network where eventually in a solution, in a healthcare solution, he can consult online, he can go to the hospital, he can get a lab test, he can get a medicine, everything. And basically, it doesn't stop there. And this network invariably also fuels growth. We've seen a lot of examples of great businesses which have been grown by building great networks. Airbnb being a very prime example, right? It's the quality of the network they have built in, right? And that really determines how they are at a level challenging most of the typical hotels and that industry. What Uber did, or in India, for example, in Ola does, is similar. There were cars which are owned by a lot of people. They enabled purchases and all, but fundamentally it's about building that massive network. And any platform business, similarly like healthcare, requires that. If you try and build a niche solution, you will most probably be able to touch a few lives, a few million lives, which could be a big business in itself, but not really create that impact what is really needed. So when we think about reaching out to consumers, typically in healthcare, and specifically businesses which are related to healthcare, trust becomes a very key piece. How do you really bring in trust? It's not the most easiest way to market in healthcare because 9 out of 10 times if I market to you, you will most probably think, there is something fishy about it. Why is he trying to sell me this? Why are you telling me to come and consult a doctor? It doesn't make sense. So how does trust come in? Early learnings, which we kind of, I think so people who start up businesses and who work in a marketplace world, just to give you some context, because I was part of the journey even at Myntra, the initial Myntra brand was built on brands like Nike and Puma. The Myntra brand didn't exist. It was the brands Nike and Puma which existed, which kind of took the Myntra brand. And today, a Myntra brand is bigger than Nike and Puma. That's similarly what you look at what we are trying to do. If you look at healthcare, yes, there are doctors, you say who are the best doctors, but fundamentally a single person is not scalable. What is scalable is brands. There are brands, there is Apollo, there is Fortis, there are large brands. So typically, again, our intent was, and also these centers are pretty much the only places where end-to-end care can be given. So it becomes very important we really get the top brands. Whatever it takes to build from a solution category, it becomes very important to do that. Trust in this category is actually comes reverse. The more you do consumer stories, the better it is. Reason, when it comes from a person, it really brings in far more emotion, better connect, and just the reliability and the fact that you're able to relate to it. That becomes a key part. The other part which is now extending a lot of businesses, and actually which always existed in healthcare, is the whole world of community. We are working on something, building a platform called Patients Like Me. It's something which exists in the US, which is very similar. What does it bring in? There is a woman who's expecting to deliver a child in the first week of January. There are so many women who are all expecting to deliver a child in the first week of January. Now, what do? Actually, if you look at their 9 months are going to be pretty similar. They all will be going for the same kind of scans, they'll be kind of going through the same kind of symptoms, the same kind of thing. So if you really bring in people like this, it really builds a very cohesive community. So whatever you, especially businesses which require high trust, I think the community becomes a big angle. And healthcare always had typical referral, not the you refer and you get 50 rupees, but the referral that where did you get it done? What do you want me to reach? I'd spoken about this a little while back also, which is on insurances and wellnesses. There are other these ecosystems which are enabling, and being a platform, it becomes very important to partner with those ecosystems, whether that ecosystem is created by an insurance player, whether that ecosystem is created by somebody, a corporate, because a corporate plays a role in an employee's health. So one thing I really wanted to talk is when we do digital marketing, when we do marketing, and when we even look at a product, many times the biasness of really saying, okay, if I'm doing good revenue, I am good. If I'm scaling, my costs are coming down, I am good. We as a business, right from when we started until today, we answer one question, and we typically answer this question once in a quarter. That question is very simple. We ask some of our consumers, how would you feel if this thing, what we have created, did not exist? Very disappointed, somewhat disappointed, not disappointed. If the very disappointed is less than 40%, I think so we haven't built a business at all. That's the fundamental point. Then it basically means anyone can come up with a tweak, come bulldoze us out, might be with more money, might be with a better product, anything. I think so that's the core of it. And that's where we really go in deep into, for these people, so as a focus, as a startup, large companies obviously have larger things, but as a startup, it becomes critical really what you do. So actually, we focus more than 50% of our time to really build things what people love. What these guys love, all solving for this 40%, not really get swayed by the fact, how will I get the not disappointed ones? You will work on those slowly one by one, but it really becomes important that you do something like that. So this gives us a yardstick to continuously keep on evaluating where we are we really going up or are we not going down? The other one is, if you look at it, any business once it starts growing, acquisition becomes the most key point. And typically as digital marketers, always the intent is how should I get more users? My learning for a while has always been, if you do not have a healthy repeat business, you truly do not again have a business. Because there's a lot of money which is spent on getting that user. That user, when we bring in, for some businesses, could be as great as $300, which we heard. For some businesses, it could be tough 3,000, 4,000 rupees. In each its own spectrum, but the reality is, how do you really keep that user in? So how do you bring in that? I think so there's each business line or each anything, there's a wow metric. And even when we look at digital marketing, we try and bring that wow metric to the front. So for us, wow metric is, let's say, a doctor will see you in 60 seconds. So that is the primary communication which goes out. So we tie in what really works on the wow metric and bring it out at the consumer adoption side. So that helps us actually optimize creative. That's just a different way of looking at things. Typically, the most obvious ones is what is your proposition, how good is the creative, but actually see what's working background. Just go much more deeper into your real data set, because that is the core set of user who's telling you everything about what he likes about your service, where did he spend time, what he did that. I think so spending that couple of few hours makes way more sense than spending on how many more users I'll get. Basically, that helps you just to go after similar users again. In our case, obviously, family members become a key role. So it becomes, how do we really do that? So yeah, pretty much I wanted to keep around that. In terms of the other, I think so the key part I've just seen is the fact that typically when you look at reaching out to users is not necessarily in every time it is going to be the most obvious way. We just heard an example that, okay, it's a lead, but eventually in a business like wedding, you actually need to eventually meet somebody in person. Same way, healthcare is also at some stage, for parts of businesses it is like that. If somebody is planning to get admitted, he's not going to go and say, okay, get my knee replacement surgery booked and I will go to the hospital. It doesn't happen like that. You have to really enable the fact that he needs to consult one doctor, another doctor, get 4 opinions. So I think so the point is, how do you really mix and play the real true digital experience which is completely internet driven, or the fact you bring in human elements. Various businesses will have their own human elements. A business like LiveSpace has these human elements of designers who really are the really points from where really people decide whether they should invest in what kind of, how they want to bring up their house, build their house. So I think so it's very important sometimes not getting biased by the fact that if you go digital, it means only that he has to click and then you have to get result. We actually have seen for some part of our businesses that the best conversions you can get is about 8%, and you put in a person, you get a conversion of 40%. The CACs change, but you, for some reason, there is this feeling, oh, this is a little offline in reality. This is not typical, this is not new age. I think so that level, I think so I came in with that kind of a bias when I came in from Myntra, because obviously Myntra was purely a very seamless online experience, right? But I think a different business need to adopt and really figure it out, not really get caught into the muddle that I will really make it work if it is only online. I think so a little bit of experimentation, truly omni models is something which typically scales, I think so, and technology at some level will bring in access at some points, but some of the old school ways of things being done will always exist, and how do you marriage that out? That's pretty much there. So we are primarily right now in two cities, primarily fairly decently spread, which is Bangalore and Hyderabad. We are expanding into Mumbai and Delhi as the next, over the next year or so, we see ourselves in about 12 cities at a fairly aggressive rate. So we've got about 80 hospitals in each, and about 7 to 8 doctors from each of the hospitals. So that's a fair amount of spread. Some of the services not yet full. So for example, we really do not have medicine delivery yet. Just to give you some context, typical medicine delivery platforms are always fighting to get the prescription, and for them it's the cost of getting the prescription and then delivering the medicine. The beauty for us is we have the prescription. We have the prescription, the user will buy. If you ask users who walk into a hospital how many times they did not buy the medicine and come out, you'll really find a very low number there. So I think so our core business is around that care, and there are a lot of these other surrounding businesses which I say very important to build, but I think those are the ones which over the next year and a half we'll build quite aggressively.